Information security for a major retailer like Walmart used to be relatively easy, but Luis Carselle, who is in charge of planning and information security for Walmart's Mexican and Central American operations, says that mobile devices like smartphones and tablets have made the job much harder.
It's funny because in the past, our IT department was developing applications to be consumed by users, and the users were basically employees or associates, as we call them. But today we're developing applications that are used by regular citizens, people out there that's basically using our tools. So I remember at the beginning, some of the message I heard when I started in Walmart is that we're not an IT company, we're a retail company, and IT is a part of the service provider internally. But that's kind of changed because today, at least in mobile and e-commerce, we are an IT company.
Yeah. What does that mean in terms of securing the information? I guess it's harder because there isn't such a physical boundary, a shop.
You no longer only care about, let's say, devices that are connected to the network. Let's say that it's important, but today there are many devices that are no longer in our own environment and not even owned by the company. Now there are personal devices using our technology and having our company information. So it's harder to control that because it's exactly beyond their reach. Security in general has, let's say, like two different approaches. One is to strengthen the controls, the solutions, minimize the capabilities that you deliver to the user and creating, a very strong security. And the other that many people would argue it's the best way to go is going more on the awareness side.
Right.
Like ensuring that the users, those associates that use the technology, are aware of the impact of their actions. And I think that's a better approach because the other, it's always behind.
Reactive.
Exactly. And the awareness will basically help you deal with things that you are aware of, but also uncertainty. There are things out there you may not know, but if you're aware, if you have a good security awareness campaign, the users will be more concerned on their actions.
Is Walmart ahead of the retail industry, do you think, in terms of managing security and risks? Sometimes seems to me that it is this sort of leapfrog race that you're always trying to anticipate the next threat and be in a position to combat it.
Exactly, and I think that's not related to the vertical. It's not true for retail only. It's true for hospitals. It's true for financial institutions. It's true for anyone. It is something that's very related to how you control your information. The more control environment you have, the better off you are to respond to these threats. But it's very hard to keep everything in control all the time because of what I was saying, because now there are devices that are outside of our reach. Right. So it is a race for sure.
Do you think there are differences between how a large organization like Walmart approaches security and information risk as opposed to a smaller operation?
Well, there is a different budget for sure, but there is also a different risk out there too. Because depending on where you are in the technology, you may not have a real impact on the internet, for instance. You may just be hosting your website or some application there, so your risk is different. So it's probably more related to those variables rather than the size of the corporation. But it's also true that you get being more famous, if you want to call it that way, or more people knowing about you. It also puts you in a different
it makes you a target, I guess.
It makes you a target for many different people, right?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Luis.
You're very welcome.